Testing. Ha! Good morning. It is 8:37 a.m. on Friday, December 18th, 2020. I'm Christiana Ellis, and I just got up. This is 5 more minutes. Technically, this is another day where I sort of got up a little bit earlier, and then I kind of went back to bed, and now I've been poking around a little bit. So, just got up is, it is a thing to say about that. But so we got a bunch of snow yesterday, and I recorded a fair amount of video of Rocket romping around in it, but sort of vaguely feel like I ought to edit it into something a little more reasonable instead of just posting the raw video. But I don't know. I might just figure something out. um, I am. Oh, sometimes when I sit down here, I have a plan for what I'm going to talk about, and then as soon as I start the recording, I just totally forget what it is. But I've remembered now. The plan is that last night I watched Tenet, Christopher Nolan's newest film, and one that was kind of notable for originally getting released at the height of the pandemic when they were kind of I shouldn't even say the height because it's worse now. But, the idea of well, maybe theaters can reopen and everyone will come back to the theaters to see Tenet. And then they didn't because that's a terrible idea. But uh, now you can buy it to stream on your home theater system. And I did that. And I will say, I'm kind of used to paying $4 to rent movies as opposed to having to pay $20 to buy a movie. But I get that this one it's a slightly different situation. So I decided to go ahead and just pull the trigger. And besides, in general, always find Christopher Nolan movies worth watching, even though there are some that I like more than others. But what I'll say about Tenet, it's definitely confusing. I think that maybe I should say it's complicated rather than confusing, and there are plenty of times where you're not supposed to know what's going on because it's time travel and you're supposed to figure it out later, obviously. Um, but it's very complicated in that regard, and so it can be a little bit tricky to follow. It's also true that the as is often the case, the main characters are a little like characters are not Nolan's best thing. In this case, like the cast is all fine, like they're all good. And there's the female lead who's played by an actress I can't recall the name of off the top of my head. She's really good, and one of the things that's also interesting is she's really tall, and the movie lets her just be taller than the guys, and that's kind of as a tall woman, I don't see that very often, where the movie doesn't try to use camera tricks to convince us that the guys are actually 2 inches taller than her when she's actually 4 inches taller than them. So that's neat. But she's also really good. I like her. But like the entire like other than for our main character, he is a guy who is determined to save the world, and he kind of likes this nice lady who's in kind of a bad spot, and he wants to help her out. Like that's the entirety of his character on the page. Now the actor is good. Like I enjoy watching him. It's not like it's bad in any given scene, but it's also true that there's just really no core of the character. He's literally not even named. They call him the protagonist, which like would feel like a joke, except that joke has been done better and more notably, and this feels more like a reference to a joke as opposed to any actual thing in this story. But in any case, it's fine. The other example I'm thinking of, by the way, is the book. Is it Neuromancer? Where the main I think it's Neuromancer, where the main character's name is hero protagonist. Hiro. But yeah, in any case, though, um, what Nolan movies are good at is big, elaborate, cool looking set pieces. And yes, this one does that. It's very cool. And I like that a lot. What I will say in the end is that I liked it more than Interstellar. Um, but the caveat there is that I actually didn't like Interstellar very much. The problem I had with Interstellar is although I loved all of the like space stuff, just it's beautiful and there were some cool ideas in there. But I also kind of resented that it made a big deal about being totally accurate and realistic in a couple of key respects and then was just totally unrealistic in many others without any like any cognitive dissonance apparently. But I also just felt like the characters and their motivations just fell utterly flat for me in that one, and I just like it tried to do the same ending as Contact, only it didn't land for me at all. Whereas I love Contact, so yeah, like it's that it yeah, so Interstellar had some great stuff in it, but overall didn't like it very much. I like this one better, but in some ways it almost is because it doesn't reach so much. It just kind of lets the inner lives of the characters and their emotions just says like, well, that's not the part we're good at, so we're just not going to spend very much time on that. And honestly, it's fine. It works okay. Like you maybe miss that stuff, but at least it's not there but bad. Yeah. So in any case, Tenet might not say like it's pretty good. I would probably say there don't feel the need to watch it right away necessarily, if since you'd have to pay $20 instead of waiting. But I'm not sad that I did. So there you go, Tenet. All right. I feel like I want to do a time travel gimmick and like somehow do something in reverse now, but that sounds hard. Yeah. I'll talk to you all tomorrow for 5 more minutes.